There is a misconception that one can only thrive in money or in love, but not in both, and I am here to challenge that perception. I truly believe that if we are able to harness both our masculine and feminine qualities, we can truly thrive in both areas of our life, although they may seem at opposite sides of the spectrum. Generally, we tend to associate money and business as being the masculine realm, and we associate love and connection and companionship as being the feminine area of expertise. But actually, we require both qualities and both energies to truly thrive. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing both masculine and feminine qualities when it comes to money, so different investments, different income strategies, and I'm also going to be talking about how my husband and I have been able to thrive in both money and love. So when it comes to making money, let's start with that. The masculine quality of making money is simply taking action, right? So it's the logical steps that take place, getting a job, doing the thing, clocking your hours. It's a very masculine role, and that's how we are able to make money. However, the feminine quality of money is how we are able to receive, how we are able to be receptive to different outlets of money. It even has to do with manifestation, how we're able to call in money, how we're able to call in our dream clients or our dream, partnerships or collaborations. So as you can see here, to truly make money and to thrive in business, you need both the masculine and feminine energies. And when it comes to love, there's actually a similar thing taking place. So the masculine quality of finding love would be creating a dating profile, talking to people and going on dates, right? It's the act, it's the actual doing of it. But the feminine aspect is being open to love, being vulnerable, taking down your walls and actually being able to be fully seen and to be fully heard. So in order to thrive, not only in money, but in love, we need to be comfortable with both our masculine and feminine qualities. And like I've said in previous videos, we're not 100% feminine or masculine. We're always taking into account different energies depending on the task at hand. And it's actually really healthy to do so. It's healthy to be in touch with both sides of the coin so we're able to truly be the best version of ourselves and to truly thrive. So when it comes to investments, I like to think of masculine investments and feminine investments. So masculine investments are investing in ourself. So these are things you can really feel and touch. So this would be like going to college, getting a degree, you actually get a paper that says that you've finished a degree, that you've gotten a certificate, that you've actually completed an area of study. So investing in ourselves is key. Okay, because this gives us the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence to be able to go out in the world and say, yes, we've done this, we've put in the work, we've put in the time, and we've been able to receive an actual physical manifestation of our time, of our energy. Now, a feminine investment would be investing in experiences, and I think this is where a lot of people fail, because many of us know that we need to invest in ourselves, right? Nowadays, it's so common to have a mentor, to have a coach, to get an education, to have a degree, to take courses and all of this. But when it comes to investing in experiences, some people fail to see the value in that. And it is actually truly valuable to travel, to try activities, to do something you've never done before. You know, when I look back on my life, some of my most valuable times and memories were not sitting in a class, were not taking a course, but they were actually going on an adventure, trying something for the first time, you know, paying for something even though it might have seemed out of reach, but the experience that I got from that really enriched me, and it made me the woman that I am today. And you might think, well, how does this have anything to do with love? Well, when we are in the dating market, the more experiences and investments that we've made in ourselves, the more we're going to shine and the more people are going to be attracted to us. So I encourage you guys to invest not only in masculine investments that are knowledge-based, that are skill-based, that have to do with actually obtaining a certificate or a degree, but to really go beyond that and to invest in experiences, in adventures, in trying things for the first time, because this makes us a well-rounded person, and it gives us value. It gives us value outside of just a degree, outside of just some certificate, but we are actually having these experiences that make us human. And when we go out into the dating market and when we become a partner, we are able to contribute because now we have real life experiences. We've been places, we've experienced different cultures, we are willing to step outside of our comfort zone, and that makes us attractive. So investing in yourself will actually make you a better lover, and it will make you a better match. It will make people more attracted to you. And so I really encourage you guys to invest in those things, not only in the books and the education and the things that help you stand on your 2 feet, but the things that really set your soul on fire and just make you feel good inside. Remember, money is a tool that allows us to pay our bills, but love is the medicine that actually heals our soul. So we really can't thrive unless we're able to master both. So we've talked about investments. Now let's talk about income, because I actually believe that there are masculine and feminine sources of income as well. So masculine sources of income tend to be fixed. So these are generally jobs. These are things where you're clocking hours, you know, it could be salary or hourly, but it's something that we do something and we know what we're going to get out of it, right? So it tends to be within the scope of what we signed up for. So in my life, I see my fixed income as my tutoring business, right? I have been able to create a list of clients and students that I serve, and I generally know how much money that is going to make me from month to month. It's quite fixed, you know. Of course, there are variations in terms of the season and things like that, but it is quite fixed, and this is the same for my coaching business. On the other hand, feminine income tends to be more variable, okay? So this is something that's fluctuating. This could be more project-based or passion-based. It's something where you're getting paid based on results or based on creating something, or I'll give you examples. So in my life, my feminine sources of income are my YouTube, my Google AdSense. This depends, right? It depends on how many videos I film. It depends on how much value that I create that the algorithm will then reward. I also see my dividend income from my investments as being quite feminine, because dividends are always changing, you know? Some companies, when they report their earnings, they will take away dividends or they will add to their dividends. So this is money that I can't just solely rely on because it's fluctuating, it's variable, like that feminine energy of being very changeable and unfixed. That's how I view a feminine source of income. So all of this is to say, I really encourage everyone to have both feminine and masculine sources of income. In this day and age, it is just a must to be able to have multiple streams of income. And if you're able to diversify even further by having both that fixed income, perhaps from a job or a career or a business, on top of having that variable income that comes from a project or a passion or, even dividends, then that is really going to help set you apart and just, make your future a lot more strong. And it's going to help you fight those times when perhaps, the economy slows down, or, even our fixed income, sometimes our job isn't permanent. And so it's good to just have that extra buffer so that you're setting yourself up for the future. And of course, this makes you more attractive in the dating market because you're more well-rounded. This is like the common theme in today's video, is having this variety, having this range. So you're not just this person who works an accounting job, but maybe you have another flavor. Maybe you do something on the side. Maybe you like knitting sweaters, and it is so awesome because you're able to get paid from various outlets, and you're now able to go on dates with just this variety, just this range. You're not this person who fits in a box, but you're unique, right? You have your own sets of hobbies and you have different sets of income, and it really helps set you apart from the group. Okay, so now I want to get into the last segment of this video, which is where I'm going to share how my husband and I have thrived in both money and love. So these are some principles that we really stand by. This is not, a rule book that applies to every couple. This is simply what we've done and what has really worked well for us. So the first thing that I have written down here is transparency. My husband and I were so transparent with where we were at money-wise when we met. It was actually quite shocking how transparent we were. I had never been as honest about my finances with any other man in my life, even men who I had known longer than my husband, who was my then boyfriend at the time. And what I loved about it was my husband was willing to be upfront and vulnerable and honest first. And I think that this is key for a woman, because as women, we truly need that safe space, that security, that strength, that foundation in order to know that we can be vulnerable. For example, in the past, when I was just dating and I was still single, there was one guy in my rotation who traded stocks for a living. I mean, he also owned properties and things like that, but finance was a huge focus in his life. And it obviously, based on our conversation, he knew that I was also invested in the stock market. And I remember on one of our first dates, this guy asked me, "So how much money do you have in your account?" And the question just came off so forward and so honest and so abrupt that I truly felt uncomfortable answering. At the time, I did not have much money in there. It was probably like $5,000 to $10,000. But the fact that he was asking me something so vulnerable, and he hadn't shared anything about his own finances, just kind of put me on guard, and it made me not want to share about my financial position. Obviously, at the time, I knew that this guy had so much more money than me in his accounts, and I kind of felt like shy or embarrassed to share where I was at, especially as someone who, at the time, it was like my first year that I had ever started investing, and I'm talking to, a man who had been investing for 10 plus years, who clearly had built a much stronger and larger position than I had. So had he perhaps been vulnerable first and shared a little bit about his financial background and where he was at, that would have opened the door and given me the space to be vulnerable. Okay. Now, on the other hand, my husband, of course, I always use him as the shining example because he tends to do a lot of things right. He had told me within our very first few dates, "Oh yeah, I make $200,000, from my job," or whatever it was at the time. And the fact that he was so upfront and honest about that was like, wow. So I can be honest about where I was, and he had told me about his whole childhood and his history and how he had grown up in poverty and how his parents had basically paid every last penny to send him off to college. And so at the time, all I had to my name was probably $10,000, and maybe if I was talking to another individual, I would have been scared. I would have been embarrassed to share that. But because he had been so upfront and honest with me and shared that about himself, I told him, you know what, to be quite honest, this is all I have right now. You know, I have a few stocks in this account. I have a little bit in my savings. You know, I'm not in debt. But that's where I'm at right now, and that was the truth. I was just starting out. I actually was starting my business right when I met him, and so I did not have much money. And being able to just be authentic and be transparent was huge, because then we knew what we were working with. We knew that, okay, neither of us are in debt. Great. How can we get to where we want to go? And my husband was just amazing. He told me about his 2 cars. He told me that, you know, they were paid off. He told me about his plans for the future. And this made me so comfortable to share more with this person, even though I didn't know him very long. But I knew that his intentions were pure, because he wasn't purely just asking me for information. He was sharing information, and it was a back and forth natural flow. So this is just kind of a message to all of you that if someone is abruptly asking you questions and they haven't shared anything about their financial status or their financial position, then you know, it's completely normal to be guarded or to not want to respond or to even answer their question. And you can simply say, you know, I don't feel comfortable disclosing that information. I truly believe that a back and forth, you know, sharing and being transparent and being vulnerable is where it's at, especially when the man leads this discussion, because then you know that his intentions are pure and that he's willing to be upfront and honest first and foremost, and that is really going to create that sense of security and safety for you. On the topic of safety, I have filmed a video on how men activate safety for women, so definitely check that out. I will link it up above. So the next thing that my husband and I did was to figure out what our number was. And this is like the golden ticket. The number is the number that we would need to reach in a net worth, in which once we reach that number, we did not need to work if we didn't want to, right? It would just be like, you know what, we've hit this goal, we've hit this milestone, and now we could simply live off of passive income, off of dividends, off of variable income. We wouldn't need any more fixed income at that time, because we would have reached this level of financial freedom. So I read the book Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, and this was a game changer, because one of the exercises that you do in this book is to basically figure out what your dream life is and what that would cost you, and then you basically work backwards to figure out, okay, well, what do I need to save and invest in order to hit that number? So when my husband and I figured out what our number was, we knew what our goal was, and then we had a vision, we had a direction. You know, we can't just sit and daydream and say, oh, I would love to be financially free, but not really define what financially free means. I had another video where I talked about a gentleman who had a $4 million net worth and no debt, and he felt really poor. So as we can see, wealth is relative. Some people feel completely fulfilled and content and even rich and wealthy with a net worth of 6 figures or maybe 1 million. And someone else might need 1 billion to truly feel that they have hit, you know, that number, that goal for them. So It's all relative. You need to figure out what that number is for you, and especially if you do this, with your partner, then it gives you guys something to look forward to, and it gives you guys a sense of where you are now and where you need to go. Now, obviously, if you're single, then still do this exercise, right? Like, I had my own number before I even met my husband. And actually, our numbers were very different. Like, I have a different number than he has, but that is okay. That shows that we're all on our own journey. And even though my husband and I are married now, and, we obviously have shared visions for the future, we actually have different numbers in terms of when I would feel comfortable to just kick my feet up and not do anything if I didn't want to. And he has a different number in terms of when he would feel comfortable to do that. So obviously there are so many factors that come along with this. Age is one of them. My husband is 17 years older than me, so obviously he has a different timeline. But there are just so many factors because all of us have a different vision of what our dream life looks like and how much that would truly cost. The next thing that my husband and I do that's quite different from most married couples is that we have different investment strategies and different investment accounts. So although we are married, we actually do not have our investments in one pot, in one shared account. And we actually love that because it allows us to diversify and to have different strategies. So for my husband, he has a 401k with his work, and it's basically managed by them. And so he doesn't really need to think when it comes to investing long term. He does have an account outside of that where he does his own thing, but the majority of his investments are run by his company, and they honestly have a great track record, so that is awesome. Me, on the other hand, I don't work a 9 to 5, so I don't have a 401k. I have a Roth IRA. So I have my own investment strategy in there, and then I also have my own individual account as well as cryptocurrency. So because of our age difference, we're able to have different investment strategies. My husband's investment strategy is a lot more safe, it's a lot more secure, it's heavily focused on funds and the S&P, whereas mine is a lot more risky because I'm younger, so I'm able to take on a bigger risk and to invest in individual stocks. And that might be something that he's not comfortable to do. So we love having this variety. I've talked about this before. It's so fun because we'll kind of compare our year-to-date gain, we'll compare our daily gains, and it's like this little competition that we're in where, there are seasons in which his account blossoms and does a lot better than mine. And there are seasons in which mine thrives, and we love that because we know that our money is invested in various places, and it's not just in one big pot doing the same thing. So we have different investment vehicles, and we're basically driving side by side, and we know that regardless, it doesn't matter that we have different strategies. At the end of the day, this money is to benefit both of us, right? So it's not this thing where I'm like, this is mine and this is yours. It's all ours, but the strategies are different. We allow each other that space to do our own thing, and we don't judge each other based on each other's investments, right? Like, there isn't a time where my husband would tell me, oh my God, that's way too risky. Or where I would tell him, that's too safe. Why are you doing that? We give each other that space because we respect one another and we trust that the other person has their strategy. It might not be working this month or this quarter, but in the end, it is geared towards their life, their plan, and their mission. And together, when we combine those strategies side by side, it is just a winning game. So we love that. And similarly, when it comes to our career, we also have separate career strategies. So my husband is a corporate guy through and through. He's always worked at big companies, and he thrives in that environment. He is great at being an employee, at doing whatever skills and tasks are required, and he likes being able to clock off on the weekend and not have to worry about a thing. I, on the other hand, have always preferred that entrepreneurial journey. I love creating something and making something of my own, and just having a boss is like definitely not what I would want for my life. And so I'm able to have that entrepreneurial journey while he has his corporate journey, and we don't judge each other because we're not on the same page. We don't judge each other because we're doing different things. Actually, I love it. I love that my husband has a safe and secure job that is fixed, that we know, it's not changing. And he loves that I have something that's super variable and super different, and I'm always having different projects and ideas and things that I'm able to create and pour my passion into. So I really wanted to put that in this video because I think a lot of us want to find someone who is a twin, who is an identical. I know that when I was single and I was first dating, I truly thought that I needed a husband who was also an entrepreneur. But when I dug deeper, I realized that there was something so special and so beautiful about marrying someone who was different, who was able to complement me, right? He didn't need to be the same as me. He could have his own skills, his own journey, his own strategy, and together we can shine. Together we can offer that different perspective. And it really does keep the polarity alive, the fact that we have completely different careers, completely different investment strategies, and just ways of thinking. It really just ignites the passion because it allows us to just view life in a different way and to talk to each other and to really listen and to understand a different point of view and a different lens, even though it's not our own. So I really hope that when you guys are off to date or in your current marriage, that you don't force your partner to just be you, to be just like you, that you allow them the space and the time and the resources to figure out what really works for them. It might not be the same things that work for you, and that actually makes it beautiful. So we can thrive in love and in money when we realize that actually, at the end of the day, both of these require this dance of masculine and feminine energies and qualities. And if we're able to tap into both of these, we don't have to choose. We don't have to choose, are we going to have a thriving career and a huge net worth, or are we going to be in a loving, happy marriage, where connection and companionship is at the center of that? We can have both. So I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I really encourage you guys to subscribe. My analytics show that only 10% of my viewers are subscribed. So if all of you guys who are watching would subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all in my next video, The Art of Both, which is a concept by my husband. I'll see you there. Bye.